Our continuing exploration of the glue swipe. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to share a new formula with you tonight, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But welcome everybody. Lynn is here, fantastic. Hey Pat and Monique, awesome. Hey Monique. Judy is here as well, fantastic. Well, I have mixed up all kinds of paints. I am all ready to go. We're going to talk about this new formula that is optional. You don't have to try this formula, by the way. I'll talk about that in a second, and we'll get into it and do a fun demo, and it's going to be a colorful one. I mixed up a lot of bright, colorful paints, so hopefully it will turn out very cool. So what we're going to be doing tonight is a glue / varnish mixing formula, and I've played around with this formula quite a bit, not really with swipes though. I've played around with this glue varnish formula with flip cups and ring pours and other things. Haven't done a lot of swipes with it, but I know it does work for swipes. But this is an optional recipe because it uses a special ingredient, and I haven't really found a replacement for this ingredient. I do have a PDF for you if you want to go check it out. It's in the pouring tutorials section right now under this glue swipe variations, along with a link to find this special ingredient. But here's just a quick regular mixing formula. It's a very simple formula. I'll talk about it. But the special ingredient is this varnish. It's a medium in varnish from Nova Color. It's a very thin fluid pouring medium, or not, it's not really pouring medium, but acrylic medium. And it works really well for getting these really cool big cells in combination with the glue. Now, you don't have to buy this. You can get very similar looks just using the regular glue recipe that we've already talked about and I've already shown you, which is the 2 parts glue, 1 part paint, and just a little bit of water, plus our coconut oil. This one is a little different, so it's 2 parts glue, 2 parts of this medium in varnish from Nova Color. I'll show you where to find this, and 1 part paint, along with the water and our coconut oil. So I like to use this formula. It creates a little different looking cell. The cells kind of like to grow a little bit more. You can get a lot of cells within cells, multicolored cells. It's kind of just a fun pouring medium to explore. But you do need to get this Nova Color product. I've tried it with some other brands of medium and varnish. I've tried it with Liquitex medium and varnish. It just doesn't work the same. Also, I've tried it with what was it? It's a little less well-known product. Not General Finishes. Oh shoot, what is it called? It is Color Explorations, maybe that's it. I can't remember. But anyway, the Nova Color one works the best. So if you wanted to go over and find it at Nova Color, it's novacolorpaint.com is the website. It's in California, so you have to get it shipped to you, and there's shipping involved. So it's really an optional thing if you want to explore it. But it can be fun. So just see how the demo goes, see if you like it. If you do like it and really anxious to try it, maybe you will think about getting some. So anyway, the PDF for you is on the website. And again, it's 2 parts glue, 2 parts of the varnish and medium, 1 part paint. And then again, some water to thin, and we'll be adding our coconut oil. So the easiest thing to do is make a little measuring guide with all those different marks, and lickety split, you'll mix up your paints and be ready to go. So let me flip over here. I'll show you the different colors we'll be working with, and we'll get into doing our demo. So let me flip the camera. So I've got my canvas here. It's a 12 by 16 we'll be working on, and I've got a lot of bright colors. This is a fun color palette to do swipes in particular, because you get a lot of beautiful cells popping up. So we've got a few different brands. I've got this Amsterdam, what is this? Orange, or Azo Orange. So Amsterdam Azo Orange. I've got Amsterdam Pyrrole Red. And this is Amsterdam's version of Pyrrole Red. And I got to tell you, the Liquitex Pyrrole Red, I think, is far superior to the Amsterdam Pyrrole Red. In my opinion, it is a nice red, but the Liquitex Basics Pyrrole Red is phenomenal. And it's still my favorite red. And so we have Artist Loft Cerulean Blue here. We've got some Amsterdam Ultramarine Violet, which I love. This is a really pretty violet color. I've mixed up some gold. So we have a little bit of gold, Master's Touch Gold over here. And then I've got this dark violet just from Master's Touch. And that is over here. And this is going to be, oops, this will be our, it will be in the painting, but it'll also be our swiping color that we're going to be using. And this technique, it's very similar. I'm going to move these paints up here. This swipe is very similar to the other swipes, except there's a little bit of a difference. I'm going to be using my palette knife to move the paints around a lot. And we're going to be putting the coconut oil in all of the colors. So we're going to go crazy mixing with the coconut oil. And it should be a whole lot of fun. We'll get a whole lot of cells, hopefully. I'm sure of that. And we'll also be torching it. So I haven't added any of the coconut oil yet. So I'm just putting 4 drops in each color. There we go. And we'll just give them all a nice stir. And we'll be ready to go. So I was experimenting with a lot of different ingredients when I came across this particular formula. And I really liked the way the cells looked. And it takes a little bit of time for them to develop. So that's one reason I'm only going to be doing one demo. I want to give the, I got to put that back in there. I want to give the paint a little time to do its thing and the cells a little time to develop, so you can kind of get a sense of what they look like after they start growing a while. So I got to pay attention here. I don't want to just keep stirring and stirring. I want to, again, I need to keep the sticks in there though. So we're just giving these, I don't know, 8 to 10 stirs, something like that. You don't have to go crazy with the stirring, but I do want to give it a decent stir. And I got to keep these sticks in. I don't know why I keep taking them out. Okay, there we go. And we've got our Pyrrole Red. And finally our orange. There we go. So these are much more bright and colorful palette than I normally work with, but this is a really fun technique to do, kind of really bright, colorful palettes. So it's going to be hopefully a very cool painting. So I'm going to move some of these paints aside, and I'm going to move these out of the way. So, and again, I'm just using, I mixed all those up with just the Elmer's school glue, nothing special. You could use the glue wall if you wanted to. Here's a little closer look at the Nova Color medium in varnish. It's number 206. And again, if you check where the replays are for this video, I'll have a link right to this product. You can check it out if you want to. And got my torch handy, ready to go. And I think what we're going to do, I'm going to put bands of color, kind of a gradation. So I'm going to put my yellow maybe up here, but yellow, red, my blue, and it's all going to be blending into the purples. And so we're going to have a kind of gradation effect going on. And there's a couple different ways I was thinking of putting the colors on. We'll see how it goes. I might alter this, but let's just start putting our paint on. Now there is, of course, oil in all of these colors. I'm working on a bare canvas, but I'm going to be applying a little bit thicker layer of paint, so we don't have to worry as much about having that bare canvas pop through, because there's going to be a thicker layer of paint on here. And when you work with a little bit thicker paint, you don't get those canvas spots as much. Now again, you could also paint this, give it a nice coat of paint, any of these colors beforehand, just to eliminate any of the white. But we're going to take a chance here. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So we'll see how it goes though. And this is mixed to the number 2 consistency. I want to leave a little bit of paint left in my cup. And I'm just going to put some red on there. And then we're going to be doing some drizzling on top with some of these other colors, so we can get some multicolored cells, which is always really fun. I'm going to put the violet on. So I'm going with the color wheel here. So we want to go with kind of this violet first, this red violet, and then our blue. And let's just start there. So I'm taking my palette knife, just a smaller knife, and I'm just going to start moving the paint around. I want to even it out a little and go kind of to the edge. You could pre-paint the edges, or you could paint the edges after. I'm just going to leave them white for now. We'll come back to them. And then I'm just going to gradually kind of move my orange right into my red and kind of get a gradation, just kind of mix them together. And you can move the red kind of up back into the orange a little bit if you want. And we can get some other colors this way. We can get these interesting in-between colors. So again, I'm moving the red into the purple, into the violet. And then I'm going to be careful here. I don't want to get too much of like the red. I definitely don't want to get the yellow in the blue. So I'm going to wipe my knife off. And continue on. Now I'm going to mix some of the purple into the blue. And this is kind of a fun way to just kind of play around with your paint colors. I want a big area of blue, so I'm going to kind of bring this down. You can let some paint go off the edges. I'm going to add a little bit more of my purple, and then maybe a little bit of red at the bottom here. And I'm going to leave the orange alone up here, and so it's this really bright orange. It's kind of like a sunset, you could think of. So I'm going to kind of work my red in first. Kind of work some of that into the purple. And we want this is, a relatively, I don't want to say thick layer, but there is a nice layer of paint on here. And the goal is to kind of get it to even back out so it becomes nice and flat for our swipe. So that looks pretty good. Now we get a couple cells popping up, but I'm not worried about those. So now let's do a little bit of drizzling with paint. So I have my gold here. I'm going to take my gold. I want to just drizzle some gold around. The gold will give a little sparkle inside some of the cells. I like that. And we'll put, I want to drizzle a little bit of my blue. Get, you know, I don't want to go crazy with the blue up in the orange because that's going to create some green, but it would be kind of fun to have a little green in there. And we can do the same with our red. And I have a little bit of my orange. Put little hints of orange down at the bottom. Looking good. I'm liking it so far. And then let's see, I could do the same with our purple. It's getting kind of crazy. It's a kind of a fun technique just all by itself. And you know, once that dries, that would be very cool painting, just like it is. A very colorful Pollock painting sort of thing. So there we go. I think that's looking pretty good. I like what we've got. Now I have my darker purple color, and I definitely recommend going with a darker swipe color. And I got a question about transparency and opacity from Cinda the other day, and I said I really don't worry too much about transparency or opacity, but in this instance, this is one area where I would probably think about it a little bit more. So I would definitely not want to swipe with a light transparent color, because once that dries, everything underneath it is going to show through. So we're swiping with this opaque purple color. So once it dries, you know, you're going to see all these cells, but the purple is going to remain, like, have its integrity about it. You won't be able to see through it. If we swiped with, like the orange here, the orange is a semi-transparent color. If we swipe with the orange, once it dries, all these other colors are going to show through partially, and so it's going to look kind of like a brown, and it's not going to be very attractive. So something like this is kind of the one of the rare instances where I really think about transparency as it has to do with the swipe color. So hopefully that makes sense. And one thing I want to do, I'm going to divide up my purple. I'm going to put a little purple in here just so I can control it a little better and not pour this big monster band across. I'm going to do a center swipe. So I'm going to swipe both directions. And I'm going to be using just my plastic swiping tools like this. And we'll see what happens here. So let's go ahead and put our swipe color. I'm going to put a little bend in there so I can get a nice, even and relatively thin stream of paint. I'm going to pour it right about here, I think. A little off center. That looks pretty good. We'll see how it goes. All right. So I'm just going to move this up so I have a little more room to swipe off of. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go this way and just drop that right in there. Make sure I get good contact, and then just start slowly pulling the paint down. All right. And I'm going to just wipe off my tool. And let's go ahead and do another one. I think I can get it in just two here. So far, so good. So I'm going to, we've got a couple cells popping up already. Just turn it around. And then just do the same thing. So I want to kind of get as close as I can to where the color is starting down here without getting into it. I want to make that purple band as small as I can. So I'm going to start kind of right here. Just give it a minute. Now we might get a little line. Yeah, we got a little line. It's okay. The cells will cover up a lot of imperfections. There we go. All right, so one more, and let's see if we can. It's a little better. Kind of dragging that blue band up the center, but that's okay. Well, we're going right through that cell. Maybe we can nudge it over. And we did it. So that's the trickiest part of the process, usually, is the actual swipe. But there we go. It's looking pretty good so far. Now let's go ahead and get our torch and see if we can get some very cool cells. We've got a couple popping up right here. So again, I'm going to kind of start high, drop it down. As soon as I see those little sparkles, I'm going to pull it up. And let me actually flip the camera here, give you a little closer view of what we're doing. There we go. So I'll start over here and work on this area first. So here we go. Just going to drop her down. We got those little sparkles. I can see them. It might be difficult to see some of those. And I'm going to pull up and we can see them burst to life, which I love. Give those a minute to start growing, and I'll just continue on up here. Now with this formula, it actually takes a little bit longer to heat up these cells. I think it has something to do with the varnish. But once they grow, they kind of continue to grow for a while. Okay, let's go and take a look at the top here. And we can see what's happening. Here's the fun, super bright yellow side starting to take form, which I love. Can we work on a few down here a little bit more? So that's looking pretty good. So we'll just let that develop a bit and see where we get. And we have some cool multi-color cells happening down here. We've got some green ones happening. That's the blue and the red mixing, or blue and the yellow mixing, or orange, I mean. But they're looking pretty good. Now I like to have little, areas of kind of rest between the cells. So I kind of like what's happening here. And these will continue to kind of grow and get larger as we continue on. So one thing I didn't know how much paint I would have left over, but I do have quite a bit of certain colors. And I have a little 8x10. So what I can do is I can move this aside and just do a little flip cup demo for you and show you what these cells look like in a flip cup. So I think I'm going to stop with the torching for now. I really like kind of the pattern we've got with the cells. So let's go ahead and just slide this up, scooch this over here, and I'll pull out this little 8x10. This is an old one I scraped. So it does have a little, a little paint on top, but we're just going to go ahead and do a little flip cup here. And so for an 8x10, we need about 3 ounces of paint. I can use a little bit more though for this particular technique to get kind of move the paint around a little bit more. So maybe a 4 ounces would be good. So I've got, here's one of my regular 5.5 ounce cups. I'll go with about 4. So I'll just put a little paint in here. Now, this isn't the ideal color palette for a flip cup. But, well, with the orange and put some purple in there. Put the rest of the red, if I have any red. Yeah, I got a little red left. Put that in there, a little bit more gold. Put the rest of the orange in. Why not? Let's see what happens. But we have that gold as a barrier color, so that might help. And let's see, a little bit more gold. A little bit more blue. And let's see, what else do we have? A little bit more of this purple. Why not? And I think that's good. So we could actually pour a little of this on, spread it around a little bit. It just helps make the canvas a little slippery so we can easily tilt our flip cup. Even though there's coconut oil in here, I'm not super worried about it. And I think I'm going to be safe. So I'm going to do the flip cup the super safe way and put my canvas on top, flip it over so we don't splatter paint all over our swipe painting. Give that a second. Cells are looking good. They're developing nicely, which I'm happy about. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull our flip cup. So just pull it. Interesting cup. Now, whenever I do the glue flip cups, I'm never too worried about getting a lot of cool stuff because we're going to be torching and then we'll get a lot of awesome cells. So, but I do like kind of these cool gradations of color we have happen in there. So, pleased about that. So let's go ahead and do a little tilting. Before we torch, I'm going to kind of tilt off of maybe half of the canvas. There we go. We got a big cell happening there. Now I'll do a little torching, and we can also do a little stretching after we've done a little bit of torching. So let's see what happens. Got a bunch of cells popping up. Be a little bit more. Now you could do the same thing that we just did here with the regular glue formula. So the 2 parts glue, 1 part paint, and then the coconut oil in your colors. And you just do flip cups, and you'll get a lot of amazing cells. I like these because they'll continue to grow for a while. But you can still get, really awesome paintings if you don't use the medium and varnish. So those are looking pretty good. I'm going to carefully tilt over the rest of our canvas, and we'll be kind of stretching out these cells and expanding them. There we go. Cool. All right, so we've got cells are growing. We got this great big one right there, but it kind of fits in. I kind of like it. So some pretty cool multicolored ones. And we've got some nice little negative space areas in there too. Like I like these little blending of colors, contrasting with the sharpness of the cells. I think that's kind of fun. So there we go. That is the glue and varnish formula. It's a fun one to play with if you want to find the Nova Color and get that Nova Color product. So, and even these cells are going to continue to grow for a little while. So I'm going to scooch this aside and I'll pull back the swipe and we can check out its progress. Maybe take a close-up shot of it. So I'll scooch this over. And here is our swipe. The cells have continued to grow. And they kind of start bumping into each other, which I kind of like. And they get some very interesting shapes. So I'm a big fan of that. It's a little different look than our typical glue cells. But I think it's a pretty cool look. So I'll zoom in here a little bit and we can get a little closer look. So here's the kind of that top corner. And we've got these interesting multicolors. Might be a little bit difficult to see them, but it's subtle, but you can kind of see these multicolored cells happening. Just kind of cool. And I like these purple ones kind of in the center. And we've got our beautiful cerulean blue ones. And those created we have some gold popping up through here, some interesting green. Look at this crazy one right there. It's a wild cell. So there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can get with this particular formula. So that is our swipe, and that'll continue to, it's probably settling down a bit now, but it'll continue to grow a bit. Let's take a look at our flip cup. And it's a cool flip cup. I like what we got here. And I like that we have a blue side and this more of a yellow, a reddish yellow side. You never know what you're going to get with the flip cups, but that's kind of cool. We have this kind of blue area and it kind of transitions into this yellow. We have some cool greens outlined with red. A lot of cool cells happening in there. Lots of multicolored ones with the flip cup. So it's a really fun formula. And again, you could do the same thing with our standard glue and paint formula and the coconut oil with flip cups, and you can get some awesome paintings. I've done a lot of really cool flip cups just with the standard glue formula, but I like this new kind of souped up formula too with the varnish. Creates some very cool, interesting looks. So, and then the flip cups actually, they're very, very random. You never know what you're going to get, but they're a lot easier to do than the swipes a lot of the times, and you can get some very awesome results like that. So let me flip the camera here. So let me show you, I'm gonna just take you over to the Nova Color site and I'll show you where you can find this varnish. So I'm gonna just remove that, share my screen a minute. And we'll pop on over here. So again, the website is novacolorpaint.com, and where you find the replay of the demo inside the membership, I'll have a link that will take you right to the specific product that I am using. But if you, Novacolor just recently kind of redid their website, and they make great paints. I really like the products they use. They're close to me because they're in Southern California, but for a lot of people that's a problem because you have to pay for shipping. But if you go over here to mediums and go to mediums and varnish, they have several different products, but this is the one that I'm talking about and I am using in this formula. Number 206, gloss medium and varnish. And you can just click on that. It comes in multiple sizes. If you're really, really ambitious, you can get a 5-gallon bucket and do lots and lots of paintings. But they sell it in like a quart. A 32-ounce quart is $16. But again, you have to pay for the shipping, so keep that in mind. But it's a fun product to try out. And or you can also experiment with other varnishes, other brands. Again, Liquitex, the Liquitex one I tried just doesn't have the same results or effects. So this is the only one that I found so far that kind of creates these very cool, interesting cells. So, but let me close that. Okay, so any questions that you might have about the paintings or the swipe, colors, or formula, anything at all, I will be happy to answer them. So let's see here. Okay, so no questions. Cool. All right. I mean, maybe everyone is stunned from the the flip cup. It was a very cool flip cup, so I'm glad I had enough paint to try one out. So, okay, let's take one more look. And because, again, the cells continue to grow. So let's go take another peek here. So here we are with our flip cup again. And they kind of like to continue to grow and kind of start bumping into each other, kind of changing the shape a little bit, which is kind of fun. And then I'll pull the swipe back once more. And here we go. So this has pretty much stayed the same, I think, mostly. But some cool cells though, fun cells in this one. Cool. All right. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining me. If there are no questions, we'll end a little early. It went a little quicker than I thought. I thought it was going to take a little longer for some reason, but it went pretty quickly. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And yeah, Monique likes the cells more in the flip cup, more variation in color. Yeah, that happens because they're all kind of mixing on top of each other, and when you flip it and pull off the cup, there's just a lot more layers of paint, so a lot more things can happen. Plus we're tilting the paint, and so you get a lot of variation and a lot of movement. So yeah, they're very, very fun. So that could be a whole technique that we could explore all by itself. It's just fun flip cups with the glue formula. So thanks, Monique. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you on Friday for our Friday demo. And until then, take care. And you can go I'll post the replay. You can find the the mixing formula PDF and that link if you're interested in checking out the Novacolor medium and varnish. So thanks so much. I will talk to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.